Hello everyone, this is Rahul. I'm the Cloud Director for Ingram Micro Cloud for the Meta region. Today we are going to talk on best practices on cloud marketing. We are not going into very details of each activities, but then this session is purely for marketing professionals or for those who are responsible to run the marketing and want to know how to typically focus on building the cloud marketing practice. So we have some best practices based on things that we've learned, and based on your response, we can go and go in a little bit deep of anything specific you want to know. But we are trying to cover the whole digital marketing, which is the key of cloud marketing strategy and approach. So this session is recorded. It is also the slides are available in the handout section of this webinar panel on your right side. You can download the presentation deck if you want, and we will be uploading the recording and you will be notified with the recording sessions. So with that note, we'll get started. If you have any questions, if you're not able to hear me for some reason due to connectivity issues, please flag it. There is a question answer section on the right side panel. Feel free to ask any questions if you want to know something specific. Otherwise, we'll go and continue. So just to give you a brief, we are basically from Ingram Micro Cloud, which is a dedicated global business unit as part of the Ingram Micro, which is a global distribution company worldwide. And our focus is specifically to build the cloud business practice across the globe. And we are talking for the region, which is Middle East, Turkey, and Africa as a meta region. And apart from that, you are already aware of AppTech, which is part of the Ingram Micro, and they are and AppTech is known for the traditional IT distribution, which is the Ingram Micro Technology Solutions. So this is just a quick overview of where we belong to, and then we'll quickly jump into the best practices. So as far as best practices and strategies are concerned, we really want to discuss today about what should be done as a reseller. So you're a channel partner, you are a reseller, you want to go and get in touch with your end customer, and what exactly you need to do from a marketing standpoint of view, and that is a question which we are trying to answer here, right? So I've met partners, I've met the owners and the key management people of these partners, and a bulk of them today in this region still focus on sales activity, but then we all need to start understanding that sales and marketing are two different functions, but then they work very closely to each other. And I would always say go and invest as much as you can on marketing, but then where do you invest is the question, right? So this is what we're trying to discuss today. What all things you need to factor in when it comes to marketing best practices, right? So let's deep dive into this. We have a slide where we can talk everything into one place, and then we can spend some time there. If you have any questions, let's keep this session interactive. If you have any questions, just feel free to just throw the question and we can always have a conversation around it. So in my opinion, the first thing, whether it is a digital marketing, whether it is a traditional marketing or anything, I would say you need to start with your contacts. And I think this is the biggest thing which everybody does or does not focus on the first place, right? You want to build up a marketing strategy, and if you do not start with contacts, something is wrong, right? So this is where I strongly recommend my partners and tell them that if you want to start building a marketing strategy, it really starts from your database. From where do you want to start? So if you're a company who is just starting fresh, then it's a different story. You need to adopt a different strategy to build a database. But then a bulk of the audience which we are now talking or going to be looking at, they are already having an existing business and then they're trying to build the cloud business model on top of it. So all of you should have some sort of existing customer database and an ongoing prospect database, right? So it really starts from really focusing on database. And the way I've written it is, and I really want to focus on that contact database is your most important asset of your organization, and you have to treat it like diamonds and gold mine, right? If this is not taken care properly, this is not treated very well with a lot of cleaning activities, a lot of ongoing activities. So I've seen organizations who get excited and say, hey, let's put all the contacts in one place. And then guess what? That contact database is never getting updated. So it's an ongoing cycle. So you start with building a database, you start putting all things together, but then on a regular basis, someone has to take the ownership to revalidate and update that contact database. People leave job, people change jobs, people change phone numbers, and the email IDs get changed, their designation change. All that information has to be kept updated. Do not forget to do that. So, and then for that, do not use spreadsheets, right? So most of the organizations start with a spreadsheet, which is an Excel sheet, but then that Excel sheet becomes very difficult to manage over a period of time. So you can start from that, but then you should quickly upload that into some sort of contact management, which I'm going to discuss anyway, which tools you can use to do that, right? But then what should be a thought process, right? Excel sheets are a tool if you get the best of the best tool in the world, but then if you don't know how you want to make use of it, it's going to be challenging. So my suggestion is the following. You should profile your every contact in the following information which you need to factor in, because this is going to help you to do some data analysis on top of it, to analyze what is your database, right? So I would recommend you to build these attributes around every contact, which you to identify them. Hey, if I have a contact detail, whether this is a prospect or an existing customer, right? So customer's definition is somebody who has bought something from you once, at least in the last 1 year. That is a customer to you. Prospect is somebody who has never transacted with you. So you need to treat these people differently. You cannot treat them same, right? So the prospect has no trust, probably has never dealt with you, doesn't have any experience. Whereas a customer who has dealt once may have a good experience, may have a bad experience, or may have a neutral experience. So you need to know that who is your contact type. So it starts really from knowing whether it's a prospect or a customer. And then on top of it, you need to at least have the following three things factored on top of this is segment. Which segment does the customer belong to? A segment is a horizontal segment, right? Horizontal segment means right, a small business. The definition of small business can be defined by you for your business, right? Generally, the definition of small business could be a best thing to do is to put it by employees. Do not put IT users, because if you use that as a matrix, you can be talking to a very large organization who has a minimum IT footprint, but they may have thousands of labor employees. But then if you go with employee as a matrix, which is widely used by global companies like Microsoft and Cisco and you name it, and they all classify using employee. The reason is the challenges of that large employee strength company are similar. So you cannot compare 100 IT user with 100 employee company. It could be 100 IT user company can be running 2,500 employees, where 2,400 employees can be laborers. But the challenges of their total company of 2,500 employees will be equal to the challenges, similar to the challenges of any company of 2,500 employees, in terms of payrolls, in terms of accounting, and this and that, and HR functions. So it's important that you segment them by employees. So small business can be 0 to 100 employees, 100 to 350 or 500 employees can be mid-market, and 500 above can be enterprise customers. So it depends on what you need to do. Anything which suits your definition, your business model should be the thing. But when it comes to cloud, I think this is the general statement, right? 0 to 100 employees can be, or 0 to 200 employees can be small business in the region, and then 300 to 500 can be, 200 to 500 can be mid-market, and 500 plus can be enterprise. So have this visibility. This is very important because each segment behaves a little different, right? So you want to communicate to all small business in a specific way. You want to communicate to all mid-market customers in a specific way. You want to communicate to all enterprise customers in a specific way. Don't communicate. One size doesn't fit all. Please keep in mind, right? So the reason you want to do this attribution is to is to fix it, is to go and do the segmentation so that it can help you to build a different type of communications based on the type of the person. The next is industry. Industries is another area where it requires a little bit of thought process. If you make a list of industries, it can run into 25, 30, but then we strongly recommend you to break it down to not more than 7 to 10 industries. For example, manufacturing can be just manufacturing. It doesn't have to be product manufacturing, doesn't have to be different thing. Every manufacturing industry, you can put it in one single thing because their problems are going to be similar, the challenges are going to be similar. It could be finance, it could be banking. So finance and banking, do you want to keep both of them into the same place? Yes, you can actually. If you're a small business, you don't have a lot of customers, then you just better go and put it only in one as a finance and banking sector. You don't want to go into insurance and something because it's difficult to justify. Try to keep it minimum. The objective is you should still know which sector they come from, right? And that will define you with a combination of a grid, which will be a horizontal and a vertical grid, which is horizontal segments of small, medium, and enterprise, which is horizontally segmented. And then you start slicing it vertically. And then the grid will tell you which each box in that will really reveal which customer needs to be treated in what type of communication. But then at least you know that if that grid is understood by you and your team, it will help them. And finally, when it comes to the individual contact of your customer base, you need to know, and I would say you classify them only in 3 categories, not more than that, because from a cloud business point of view, that's the maximum you need to know. You need to know whether you're talking to a business guy, which falls into a CXO. It could be CEO, it could be COO, it could be GM, it could be director. All of them can go into CXO. These are senior executive of the company, whether it's a small or a large company. IT is IT. Yeah, it could be IT manager, it could be IT director, IT head, IT system administrator or somebody. So these guys are IT focused folks. You want to communicate to them separately. And then comes finance. The finance can be finance manager, it could be CFO, it could be anybody who is related to finance because you have to factor these type of people into your discussion when it comes to cloud selling. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, but these are something which you can easily recreate on an Excel sheet. Ensure that you factor in these extra fields and then you can import it into any tool which before you import, you can just recreate these attributes there and then you can import the entire database. This will really help you to segment the database in a much better way. Okay. Now, the next question which we generally find is we will get into the different component, but then in short, which I want to really tell is consistency in approach. You can pick up one of these activities. It doesn't have to be all of them together. You can pick up one of these activities or more than one activity, but then what is important is you can set a frequency for that based on your style, based on your business, but whatever frequency you decide, stick to that frequency. If you have decided to do a bi-weekly email marketing campaigns, then do it bi-weekly. Hook or crook, right? So you need to ensure that you stick to it. If you have decided to do only one newsletter once in a month, then stick to it. Whatever it takes, that newsletter has to go out. If you have decided to write blogs, and go and write blogs, but then stick to the frequency. It could be bi-weekly, it could be weekly, it could be monthly. Then stick to it. YouTube is a great place to do it, but again, if you want to post a video, don't post one video now and then second video goes after a year. Try to keep it consistent, right? Whatever frequency you want to decide, and whatever type of videos, it doesn't have to be very complex videos. It can be simple screencast. The one which we are right now watching is getting recorded. It will be uploaded into our channel. And that is what people want, right? People want to listen to somebody. People want to watch something which is a real good content and helpful content. And that is what will make a difference to you. So it could be a live video. You can shoot it using iPhone. You can shoot it with any device, a DSLR camera, and then upload it. You can use Google Hangouts. You can use Skype for Business, anything. Any type of video is okay. It's just that have anything. If you decide to go with YouTube, better have a consistency there. Don't create lots of gaps. Social media again remains the same, but again, don't try to run social media as your own stuff because it's difficult. If you are a small team, you do not have a dedicated marketing person, then it will become challenging to really go after updating every different things at a different time. There are lots of great tools. I have a 2 slides full of tools which we want to recommend you. These are very, very lightweight in terms of cost and in terms of the way it is to be used. You don't need any specialized training. Just watch their help videos and you should be able to use these tools on your own without any problems here on. Webinar is another great way to sell in the modern way, right? We are looking at webinar right now. You guys have joined remotely from various different countries and you're able to listen to me and you will be in a position to ask questions and I will be able to answer that. And that's a great way to communicate to your prospects and your customers about what is it without demanding for a in-person meeting, which is becoming day-to-day difficult, right? So you cannot get meetings as you can get, as you could have got it in past before. So that's the whole idea. That point is, whichever medium you use, just be ensuring that you have to be consistent. I'm not saying that you have to use all of them. You can use all if you have a dedicated person, but if you don't have a dedicated person, you can do at least once a month a newsletter. You could use bi-weekly email or just one blog and then market it, something. But whatever you decided, just stick to it as a consistency. So that's a blueprint which we want you to take it and drive it, right? So on the right side, if you see your target audience, right? We have personas. So this is in the marketing world, this is called personas, right? So persona is basically a type of person, which means there is a CXO, there is an IT finance, IT, there is a finance. So whatever you do as a whole thing, you always need to keep that persona in mind, that who is this audience and what am I going to do with this audience? You cannot write a content or you cannot write an article which is going to be suitable for every type of person. No. You should always, before you start doing any activity, you should always know that whom this activity is going to target. Is it going to be CXO? Is it going to be IT? Is it going to be finance? And that's where it starts from having the right database, right? You cannot send a common email to everybody. It is just going to backfire you. But then the moment you send that email to only CXO and then that CXO type of audience are getting a content which is very relevant to them, you can expect them to read that content and get some action to it, capture a lead, and then you can start working with them proactively. And that's the idea, right? So the target audience is super important. Those type of contacts are super important. So start with contacts, and then when it comes to a content strategy, you need to keep those people in mind before you start your content strategy. So your right side, the target audience, is the first thing to look for, and then go reverse, right? Now, coming to the extreme left, which is the content side, you don't have to do all the content. You can start with some, be consistent, and then keep adding if you want to more. But in any case, it has to be things like blog. Blog are a great way to do something. Can you hear me? Can someone confirm if they can hear me? Yes, okay. Thank you. So what we really are trying to say is, based on the type of persona which is on the right side, start generating content. Which is the most effective content? I would say the most effective and impactful is anything which is visual and anything which is text. You have both the type of people in the world who are there today. Someone who is a macro person, that person would prefer to watch videos and watch graphics. Like infographics is another great way to convey things and convey that long message in a very short way. Or videos, a short video, 5 minutes video, 3 minutes video, those are again a great way to capture that attention and convey a very detailed message in a short span of time. But then you have people who want to prefer to read things, and everybody will do that in a way or two. So that is where blog articles are super important, right? So do not forget about blog, and you will find yourself into a situation where you will notice that blogs are very well, or articles are very well respected on platform like LinkedIn. And this is the proof that people like to read. So whenever you write a blog, post it on your LinkedIn as a contributor, and then you will see that your connections will immediately start liking or commenting it, and that will give you the assurance that content will stay. And the beauty of these type of content are that these content are going to be staying for a long time online, which means it is going to do the work. Once you put them out there, they're going to work for you for a long time, probably forever, So that's the beauty of these type of content which you do. So you have to have digital marketing with a very strong content strategy. What to write, we'll get into that point in a bit, but then what mediums to choose is I would say you can start with blogs, you can start with videos, you can start with infographics. If infographics is complex, start with videos and blog articles, but then maintain that. Once you have the content ready, you need to start pushing it through some channel mediums, right? So this is the mediums. We call it as mediums, right? One of the ways is to simply just shoot that content through a medium, which is email. But then eventually everything should be there available online on your website or a blog. And then push those blogs through the social medium, through YouTube, and if you want to create a mobile app, if you want. But then ensure that this is how you see everything. You should see everything in a way that it goes through a channel, right? So don't just create content and then and if you forgot to push it through the right mediums, then that content is of no use. And based on the type of end customers persona audience, which is CXO, your content channel will also be decided. Which is the best way to reach out to CXO? Which is the best way to reach out to IT? Which is the best way to reach out to finance? Which is the best way to reach out to a complete new customer, for example? So these things will decide. So from a content strategy point of view, it is important that you need to choose which medium you're going to start with, what content you're going to start with, and where you want to send it. Do you want to start sending content or building content for what type of personas to start with? I would say focus on CXOs. This is the best hit. So if you have $500 to invest, and where would you invest? I would say invest in blogs and videos, and use email and website and blog, and then target it to CXO. That is how I would choose my priority. And if you have more money and time, you can choose all of them. You can choose more than one channel or more than one channel, right? But then that's the minimum you should do. You should pick up the blog article, pick up a video, pick up the channel of email and web and social, and then target should be CXO type of people. That is going to give you maximum returns. So if you have any questions, doubts, just feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to answer. Now, I want to spend some time on talking about some tools which will really help you in your marketing role if you want to build things. Let's start with email campaigns. Email campaigns are very crucial in these days. Emails are still considered to be an important tool to communicate to different people and each other. But then you need to use email, the right email tool, which will give you some things. So I've seen marketing executives, or I've seen companies who are trying to do marketing in a very disastrous way sometimes. If you're using your primary email account like Outlook to send your marketing emails through that account, through your personal account, through your official email ID which you're using, which is given to you, and you're sending 200 emails and 100 emails as a BCC, trust me, that's not going to work out. Do not do that. Do not make that mistake, because there is no point in sending an email from there. Why? First, you cannot track them. There is no output. There is no ROI. You can do anything on that. You cannot get a great design there. You will end up spamming your own domain or blocking your email ID also. So do not do that unless you have anything specific reason that you want to send it to 10 or 15 people one-to-one emails from your personal account, from your personal name, then use your email client. But otherwise, please do not send it. It has to be used and sent through an email marketing tool. You don't have to stick to these tools, but the reason we want to recommend these tools is that we have tried and tested. We have tested it, maximum tools. We have narrowed down to these options because we feel that these are cost effective and these are something which is practically useful for all of you. So for email marketing, another thing which we really want to tell you is do not send images. It has to be an HTML because a bulk of emails are today read on mobile devices. A bulk, a bulk is up to 60% of emails are now today opened on mobile devices. This means your email has to be a HTML version which can shrink and open into a mobile device also. Do not create emails with lots of with emails which has text and which is an image, and don't just put that image and send it to audience as an email marketing tool, right? So use email marketing tool like Campaign Monitor or iContact, MailChimp. There are many of them. Just search online and you will get all of them. Most of them charge by you number of contacts you have, and that's reasonable. It doesn't cost more than $50, $60, $70 at the max. But then it will do the job, efficient job on doing this email, sending the campaigns, giving you a nice tool to build the campaign. You don't need to be a designer or HTML person to do those emails. You can be a normal business person and you can get the job done very easily. So those are tools, but then it's not just about creating nice looking emails, but it is about tracking them. It is about getting reports, and these tools are designed to do that job very efficiently. So you use, I would recommend Campaign Monitor. I'm a fan of that tool. It's very easy, very easy to manage and create stuff there. In all these tools, you have something called autoresponder. Create autoresponder series. These are something which is like a salesperson or a full-time marketing person at no cost, right? So once you buy these tools, you can do something, and you might have experience. You go and sign up for any service today on any online tool, and they will keep sending you automated emails every 2 days, every 4 days, every week, and they'll keep in touch with you. And this is not sent by one person. This is sent through something called automated response, right? It is called autoresponder. And it is basically a series of events which will trigger, and then it will automatically send those mails. And it's a very great way to personalize an approach for one or two type of audience or customers when they fill up something. So I would strongly recommend you to use that. It takes time and effort to create those, but then if you can get started with one autoresponder series, it'll still be a great stuff to do. Websites. Common question, where should I keep my website? Whether this tool, that tool, this platform, that platform, which hosting? You can choose any hosting. You can choose GoDaddy, you can choose Azure, you can choose Amazon. Choose any platform. Which tool or which platform to put, or which is the engine we should use? You should use WordPress. WordPress is one of the world's famous and the most respected platform. I'm not saying this is the only best thing, and this is the most commonly used and very cost effective. Hundreds and thousands of plugins available to make it better, right? I would strongly recommend, if wherever your website is, I would strongly recommend you to move it to WordPress. It is the best thing you could do to your website, right? And have one person dedicated to that. And if you do not have a dedicated person, you can hire thousands and thousands and millions of people who are expert on WordPress. You search online, there will be a lot of freelancers available. And then another question, should I keep my blog within my website, or should I keep it outside on a blogging service provided as a free service? Strong recommendation, keep the blog within your website, right? Because every article you put it on that is going to increase your ranking of your own website. And it should be your domain name /blog or blog.yourdomainname.com. Please ensure that it is on the same WordPress engine of your website. It is very, very critical, very important. So In the future sessions, we will discuss on what should be the layout of website. If you guys are interested to know, let us know in the feedback, and we will specifically talk about that. Podcast is another good stuff to do. It's as if you're talking to someone, record something. But again, podcast should be done in a short span of time, which means you cannot have a podcast of 1 hour. Your podcast should be around 15 minutes max. Pick up a topic, talk to them as if radio, and the best way to push it out without any hassle. Podcasts, typically people do not get encouraged and excited about it because the way it takes time to publish it. But then the easiest thing you could do is to use soundcloud.com, and it provides a very easy way to upload your recordings and then make it available to your visitors and your audience. They can consume it through mobile, they can consume it through website, they can embed these audio tracks anywhere in the online stuff. Very good stuff. I would strongly recommend to use soundcloud.com for your podcast updates. Videos, you can do two types of videos to get started. One is something called screencast. Screencast is what you're looking at now, the screen, and I'm talking, and it basically records the whole screen as a video, and then you upload them. The second is a live video. Live video, you can use iPhone. Any latest iPhone is good to get started with, or a DSLR camera for video with a mic. If you're using DSLR, ensure that you get a lavalier mic, which is a lapel mic for DSLR. Very important. Video is not good if the video quality is great, but then video is only good when the audio of the video is good, right? So you need to have a great audio to make your video successful. So ensure that you have a right audio quality of the video, but then otherwise videos are the amazing way to communicate things to your audience. Social, we strongly recommend you to use tools like Hootsuite or Buffer app. What does this do? So today, if you have, at the minimum, as an IT company, I think you should have a LinkedIn, you should have a Twitter, you should have Google Plus, Facebook. Yes or no? It depends if your business is towards individual people or not. But then, if you want to put Facebook also, what's going to happen is if you try to do the updates on your own every time, it's never going to be possible for you to do it. The thing is, the usage of these posts or lifetime of these posts on these social media has dropped to like 60 seconds or something like that, which means if your post is there and it's going to die below the new post updates in less than a minute or two, which means somebody has to keep posting on a constant basis so that it is basically picked up and it can go viral. Now, for you to efficiently do that, you should use tools like Hootsuite or Buffer app. These are very popular tools, very, very light priced, but $10 a month or so. Now, what does this tool do is these tools will help you to connect all the social accounts together, and it is basically going to allow you to post one single update across all of them at a different timings, even if you're not online. So that's the beauty of these. Strongly recommend to use these tools. If you have a lot more money and you really want to do it in the right way, instead of using these individual tools like emails and this and that separately, you can use one tool like HubSpot. HubSpot is an amazing tool, but then it is expensive. And it will cover right from email to autoresponders to website to podcast, sorry, not podcast, to social media, and landing pages, everything in one single tool, and it will give you much better control on the marketing than anything else. But then it comes at a price. The price is a little expensive. So if you can afford to go for this kind of investment, I would strongly go and say go ahead and invest in HubSpot kind of thing. If you want to build a mobile app in a very cost-effective manner, go to Como.com. It'll build you online apps, and then you can publish it. So just in case. Another set of tools which I really want to mention is like infographics. You want to create some great infographics. You don't have a lot of knowledge. There's no problem. You can just use the pictochart.com kind of tool, and that will help you to create the simple, cost-effective infographics. Planning management, you can use Atlassian Jira Core or Trello. Trello is free, Jira Core is by user. So it depends on your taste and this thing. If you have a very complex workflow processes, you can use Jira Core. If you just have a simple working processes, then use Trello, and that should be good to go ahead and start doing an effective planning and execution. Form tools, use Woohoo Form or Zoho Forms. Why we insist on using a form tools? Very simple reason. You need to capture information on a time-to-time basis, and then trying to do it in a very cumbersome way through HTML is going to be a long, lengthy process. It's better to have these tools, and anybody as a business can just go and create these forms and make use of it very quickly. Landing page tools, again, very important piece of the whole marketing engine. Landing pages are something which you don't want to miss out. And there are many of them. You can use Unbounce, Insta Pages, WordPress itself you can use with tools like plugins like Visual Composer, and to make your life easier to create great landing pages. Webinars, you can use GoToMeeting, Skype for Business, Google Hangouts, anything. And sorry for this repetition, but then you can use any of these tools. Point is, there are many of such tools available. They're trying to get you the best of the breed tools, which we think is going to be cost effective and still do a great job of an output. But then, point is, you don't have to use all of them. Yeah? You can use one or two to get started based on your priorities, and then take it forward from there to see which one works, which one doesn't work. But most of them have been picked up for a specific task, so which means they will definitely work for that particular task. But the question is whether you want to include that activity in your marketing strategy or not. So from a campaign flow point of view, this is something which we think we should just do it in general, right? So whether you run a digital or whether you run a traditional marketing, you need to do a flow like this. You need to have a campaign planning and approval internally. Once you do that, do the activities, wait for some responses, and then do some qualification and follow-up process, do the results and an analysis, build the ROI to back to the management who has invested into these marketing activities. And from a follow-up, it has to go as a leads to the sales team. Very generic, but then sometimes people miss out, right? Sometimes people fail to plan, and sometimes people fail to analyze and do the ROI analysis also, what works, what doesn't work. ROI stands for return of investment. So if you have invested, there is a question, what is ROI? ROI is return of investment. So let's say you are investing $500 in a total campaign in email marketing tool and this and that. The question would be, how much to expect as an incremental business? So this is how you should think and position yourself. So when you are trying to take out $500 from your margin and profit and investing in marketing, I think you should expect at least 3 or 4 times as a returns, which means that for an investment of $500, you should at least expect $1,500 of gross profit as a returns, right? But then this can be changed based on your business demands. So that is the ROI. So if you are trying to invest into an activity which is going to cost you $10,000, and the impact and the number of business leads you're going to generate to build that ROI model, and if out of for 10,000, if your returns is not, or is $10,000 of investment, if you're getting just 10,000, probably that you want to relook at that activity once again. You don't want to do it just because this is giving you exact same amount. So you don't want to invest 100 to get 100 back. You are investing 100 to get at least 200 back, right? So that's the way I want you to think and plan and execute. So analyze the whole campaign flow in this way every time. And there's another second slide which we want you to do is the detail of flow. So this is again similar to the previous slide, but then this is very specific, right? So every time you put an email campaign, a blog, or a social media, or an advertisement, it should all be pointed to a landing page with a video preferably, if not, but then landing page is important. Do not send an email pointing with no action to take which is we call it as call to action. If there is, you're not telling the customer or prospect to take any action, and even if you're putting some links, it is going and pointing to your common website, your homepage of the website. People are getting lost. They don't know what to do, right? You're sending them an email, you're telling them, hey, you can do this, you can do that. But then after that, what? You want them to call you want them to fill up a form, you want them to click somewhere, tell them with a big button saying that, hey, click. You can watch all our emails which are coming to you from Ingram Micro Cloud, and you will see a very clear call to action. There will be a button to say, click here to know more, click here to register, download something. Something will be there. And that's called call to action. Have it there. It can be, it should be there on blogs, it should be there on social media. Don't just post, hey, it's a great thing to have cloud into your business, but then what next? What's next? Put a small link there so that people can click. You can say, hey, cloud is future of the business, and learn how to use cloud in the right way. Here is the link, click. And that should take them to not to website. Please don't direct them to just common website. Let them go to a specific landing page which is related to that particular activity. So if you're talking about Office 365, the landing page should also talk about Office 365. Don't just push them on a home page which has everything, right? And on that landing page, you give them only specific information which you are telling them. So for example, if you walk into a store which says a board of, hey, it's a great shoe store, you walk in and you see clothes there and you don't find the shoes there, how will you feel? You'll feel stupid, right? So you'll see, hey, what is this place? I thought it was telling me on the door, it was telling me there are a lot of shoe and a lot of these things, and right now I'm getting inside, it is all about clothes. Or for example, at the entrance it will say, hey, 50% sale, and you walk into the store and there is no sale inside. It's basically misleading. So do not mislead people. So whatever activity you do, ensure that the landing page has that specific relevant content. Relevance is super important, right? And when you go into the landing page, when they go to landing page, ensure that you have a call to action there. Either it can be a lead capture form. You can use Zoho form, or you can use Woohoo form, whatever form it is. Use that lead capture form to capture that information. And that information can be your first name, last name, phone number, email ID. But then don't limit there. Right? You want to ask them one more question saying that, hey, tell me what specifically you want to ask. Just don't tell them to fill up these details. Right? They'll fill up, and then what? You need to give the right message there, right? So you need to have an auto response. Define an email. The moment they fill in the email, it should say, hey, thank you for filling it up. We will get in touch with you in 24 hours. And if in the meantime, you can visit this link, you can talk to us, and this is our phone number, and so on. And that is what is an auto response. But then the marketing doesn't stop there. And marketing continues from there. It probably starts from there again, is to, you need to have a full strategy of what is going to happen. If we get a lead, who is going to take action? What should be my question? What should be my qualification process? What is qualified as a lead and what is qualified as a not a lead? It's a waste of lead. So you need to know these things. You need to tell and discuss with sales. So that's a general methodology which we strongly recommend. This is again tested, proven by us in various parts of the world, and we just want to share this knowledge with you. Again, what happens after the lead capture form? So lead capture form, you get an auto response email, a telecall for a qualification purpose. If it is not qualified, don't just throw them. You need to put them into a leads in a contact database so that you can continue to market them further. If it is unqualified, then put them into a nurturing thing where we basically shoot them multiple autoresponders or something else to do it for further future marketing. The moment it is qualified, you send it to your sales team or your partners if you work with some partners. So that's what you need to do from a final thing to do in terms of process. So this completes my discussions on marketing strategies and this thing. I'm open for questions. If you have any specific questions, feel free to ask. We're more than happy to help or share anything specific if you have any questions. All right, don't forget to download the slides because it has all the tool names. Feel free to download these slides. It is there on the handout section. And if you need help, please feel free to reach out to us. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we can conclude this session today. This is recorded, so we'll upload the recording into this uh, into the webinar tool, and you will be communicated with the recording link. I'll wait for a few seconds on the question if you have any questions. Of course, the recording, there's a question, will the voice will be saved? It's a full video with voice, so you will be able to hear everything. And you can download the presentation on the right side, which is called handouts. Otherwise, if you need something specific, just reply to us and we will be happy to send you the link of the presentation. There's a question how to save the voice along with presentation. So you can use the tools like this. We are using GoToWebinar, which has a recording facility. You can use GoToMeeting also, or you can refer to those tools which I was mentioning. There is a tool called Camtasia. Camtasia is a tool which can help you to record your screen with the voice, and it can throw an output as a video, and you can upload that as a video in the YouTube. So that is called Camtasia for screencasting. You need to look for tools for screencast. The right word for doing the screen recording with voice is screencast. All right. If you do not have any further questions, thanks a lot for your time. It was nice to share all these things, and we'll keep conducting such sessions in future. And if you have anything, please reach out to us. Thank you.